So here we are in a very blustery Castletown. It's the unveiling of a blue plaque, I believe to be the sixth one on the Isle of Man. This is for Sir Frank Gill, of course, one of the founders of the BBC, the British Broadcasting Company as it was then. This has been a real work of love by Bob Stimpson, who's behind this. He's the biographer for Sir Frank Gill. And we'll play out now for you the goings on, the great and the good talking before the plaque was unveiled by the Governor.
Good afternoon. His Excellency, the Lieutenant Governor, honoured guests, people of Castletown, visitors, and all the young people who've come out this afternoon, thank you. Thank you for joining us this afternoon in the heart of Castletown for a very special and historic moment. In recent years, many changes have happened in the area around us. The emphasis has been on looking forward and fun, something that the BBC has done repeatedly over the last 100 years. Today we're doing something slightly different. We are thinking about an earlier time and one particular man of special note. Sir Frank Gill was an exceptional man. Sir Frank's unique traits and outlook on life enabled him to unite a competitive industry. He brokered a groundbreaking deal between key players in the communication sector. That should not be underestimated. The modern equivalent would be getting the heads together from companies like Apple, Facebook, Twitter, and all the large communication giants around a table, talking, then agreeing to the transformation of the market. That is almost unimaginable. They are real competitors, all eager to get the biggest market share. 100 years after achieving an incredible breakthrough, the developments which Sir Frank set in motion are still impacting on most of our lives. On the Isle of Man, people over the age of 75 are still receiving free television licenses, which enhance their daily lives with something that was set in motion by one incredible islander. Sir Frank's legacy continues, with the global reach of the BBC uniting almost 500 million people every single week, informing them and entertaining them. Sir Frank was born here, he lived here, and he chose to be buried quite close by. Today, there are very few blue plaques on the island, only 6 of them. In January 2018, one was placed on Queen Street, the most patriotic street during World War I. Today we have another. Thank you, and I would like to hand over to Minister Allinson.
Thank you, Jason. Your Excellency, Mr. President, honourable members, ladies and gentlemen, we're here today for a special event, the unveiling of a blue plaque to celebrate Sir Frank Gill. The Isle of Man, while small, has always punched above its weight. The island has created the environment for new ideas and innovations and become home to inventors and entrepreneurs. But our people have also travelled widely, becoming major influencers around the world. Good ideas have no boundaries. And today we celebrate a man instrumental in defining effective regulation for broadcasting and the creation of the BBC. On the adjacent isle, events like this are commonplace, but on the island they are rare. This probably reflects our sense of modesty, but in the worlds we now live, we should be prouder of our heritage, our history, and our ambitions for the future. Our island plan aims to create a nation which is at ease with itself, as well as being secure, vibrant and sustainable. Today's ceremony demonstrates this is not only achievable, but essential for our people and our nation. Government's role is to enable the private sector to thrive, to create economic growth for the benefit of all. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Hugo van Zyl, the Chief Technical Officer from Max Telecom, who will speak on telecommunication innovation and how this is continuing to change the way we live and work. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for coming out today. So Sir Frank Gill lived in a time of extreme scientific discoveries and also the application of engineering principles. He would have, in his time, witnessed the first electric light bulbs coming through. He would have witnessed the first moving pictures, the motorization of horse trams, and even electric trains and the use of the underground systems. But for Sir Frank, it was telephony and the ability for people to communicate that really grabbed his attention. And as he was working his way through making the impact from a telephony perspective, he was specifically interested later on about radio technology and this almost magical ability for people to communicate over what was seemingly thin air. So while circumstances unfortunately had Sir Frank leave the island at the age of 11, we can just imagine that he would have been extremely proud about all of the communications steps that we've taken on the island to connect people and to make a better life for all of us. Here, the National Telephone Company, which was a forerunner for Manx Telecom, started work very early, and in 1889 already established the first public telephone system. We only had 4 subscribers at that point, and one of them being the Steam Packet Company and some of the Isle of Man newspapers. By 1929, the first telephone link was established from the island and the first call made to Blackpool. And in 1976, international dialing was available to us as islanders for the first time, connecting us to the rest of the world. If we then fast forward another 20 years, in 1996, the first mobile network was built on the island, allowing us all to communicate via radio systems. So today, our telecommunications business keeps on evolving and is quite complex. We have fiber systems allowing people connectivity at great data speeds, mobile systems, interconnecting people to the internet, and we have all kinds of innovations coming along all of the time. These developments only come forward by people with the right vision and skill to push us forward and make us imagine new things, to create new dreams, and certainly Sir Frank was one of those people. So Sir Frank Gill, someone from the Isle of Man, made it possible for us to be better as people and communicate in a better way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hugo, and it's my honour to ask His Excellency the Lieutenant Governor, Sir John Lorimer, to come and say a few words.
Vice Chairman, Mr. President, Minister Allinson, Mr. Morehouse, Mr. Glover, members of Tynwald, ladies and gentlemen. There's no doubt about it that Sir Frank Gill was a remarkable Manxman. Not only was he an outstanding and respected engineer, he was also highly skilled and an influential negotiator who played a critical role in the founding of the BBC in 1922. Although he perhaps appears as a postscript in the history of British broadcasting, there is no question that it was his groundwork and leadership that sowed the seeds to enable the creation of a single organisation that we know today as the BBC. Later that same year, he became president of the Institution of Electrical Engineers. And in his presidential address, he proposed that Europe should have a long-distance telephone system equivalent to that of the United States. Then the American Telephone and Telegraph Company in the USA ran a service over almost 3,000 miles between New York and San Francisco. Now, at this time, the only places you could call on the continent were Brussels and Paris. And as a result of his address, the French took the initiative to try and make this a reality. Frank Gill persuaded the disparate countries of Europe to act as a single organisation, which is an incredible achievement at that time. Frank Gill, who went on to be knighted in 1941 for services to the telephone industry, continued to work relentlessly until his death in 1950. including helping to set up the first transatlantic radio telephone call and telephone networks in both Spain and Japan. His impact on the world of communication through telephony and broadcasting was down to his natural ability to bring individuals, companies, and countries together. He clearly had great foresight and was a true diplomat. So it's an absolute honour to unveil this plaque to mark the Castletown birthplace of Sir Frank Gill on the centenary of that first meeting he chaired of the wireless equipment manufacturers, which ultimately led to the creation of the BBC. Now, as today's event has been made possible through the collaboration and support of Castletown Heritage, Castletown Town Commissioners, the Institution of Engineering and Technology, both in London and on Ireland, the head of BBC History, and the management and staff of the Castletown Co-op in enabling the plaque to be designed and fitted. And finally, I would also like to pay special mention and thanks to Robert Stimson, who's Frank Gill's biographer. Robert initiated this project and has organised this event today. So thank you very much indeed, Robert.
See you soon. Okay, yes.